Hello, my name is Chris Cook and I am a relationship coach. And today I'm going to be focusing on the importance of setting boundaries in dating relationships. So, what is a boundary? A boundary is a line that separates one thing from another. What is a boundary in a relationship? A boundary in a relationship, it represents the line that separates that which is acceptable from that which isn't acceptable. And so, why is it important for you to have boundaries or to set boundaries in your dating relationships? Well, boundaries represent the terms of engagement, the terms of engagement that will allow this relationship to be as mutually beneficial as possible and to be as healthy and as successfully and as enjoyable as possible for both parties. Now, there are different types of boundaries that could be set. So, what are some, first of all, let's talk about some potential successful outcomes of setting good boundaries. If you are able to set boundaries in your relationship, you're going to have better communication, better understanding, conflict management, and conflict prevention, mutual respect, which is very, very important in this time and age. And you're going to be able to set yourself up for a future where the relationship will have more of a chance to last. And so, as you can see there, though all those things represent very important steps for making your relationship successful. And so this is going to be the focus of today's video. Now, what are some potential obstacles for setting boundaries? One potential obstacle could be that you're afraid of being rejected. So if you're setting boundaries, and that may involve saying no, you might think, this person, they may not like me as much. They might think I'm a bit of I'm hard work or a bit difficult, and they might want to leave me. Well, if that is the case, they may be doing you a favor, because if you are not able to establish clear boundaries in the relationship with this person, this man or woman may be the best looking people, they may be so charismatic and so wonderful. If you're not able to establish a good, strong relationship that is built on strong boundaries that are mutually beneficial and involve respect for both parties, then that relationship is not going to last, no matter how wonderful you might think that other person is. And so you want to recognize that having clear boundaries at the outset and as early as possible in the relationship is one of the best things you could do to establish the good, strong relationship that you desire or you deserve. As a relationship coach, my job is to make the boundary setting process as easy as possible. And I do so with what is called the covenantal process. It's a tool that I use to help couples to establish good, strong boundaries in their relationships. The covenantal process is taking expectations from the mind and bringing them into the real world with mutually beneficial agreements that allow each person to be able to express themselves and experience the respect that they deserve in the relationship. There are 7 steps, 7 sequential steps to the covenantal process. And I would like to tell you about them briefly. The first step is the initiation. The second step is the investigation. The third step is the sit down. The fourth step is the negotiation. The fifth step is closing the deal. Step number 6 is the promise. And the final step is number 7, which is the sealing. And I'm going to just run through and explain to you what each step represents, or why each step is important or relevant in this process. So the first step is the initiation. And the initiation is where two people decide that they have a relationship interest. And that means they're able to come together and decide this is a relationship that is important to me. And I would like this relationship to be successful and to last. And I would like us to have the best experience in this relationship. That's the initiation. And that's where they decide that they're going to make this relationship work. Then comes the investigation. And the investigation, and with my couples, I give them tools that they can use to investigate the relationship, the potential outcome of this relationship. And the investigation process involves deciding what your expectations are of the relationship and what your offerings are to the relationship. One of the reasons why relationships where people do not make boundaries are not successful is because if you don't understand what your expectations are, then you won't know what your boundaries are, and you won't be able to create those boundaries, and you won't, unfortunately, be able to tell your companion what your expectations are, and what your red lines are, what things you will not tolerate. And so, establishing what your expectations are is an important step on the covenantal process. And not only establishing your expectations, but contemplating what your girlfriend, boyfriend's expectations are. What would they like to have from you that will make this relationship as successful and as enjoyable for them as possible? That is an important step. It's called the investigation, and you're investigating your expectations and your girlfriend or boyfriend's expectations and what you can do to fulfill them. The next step is the sit down. And the sit down is a meeting where you come together with the expectations that you've investigated in step two, and then you start to draft up a list of agreements or covenants. The sit down is the first of a three-tier covenant refinement process. And so the first step, the tier of this covenant refinement process, is where you decide what these covenants are. What are going to be the terms of engagement of your new and improved relationship? These are the boundaries that you're setting together. It is beautiful and it's so poetic because you're sitting together and you're establishing what the boundaries, what are the things that you expect and accept in what you consider to be a successful relationship, and your girlfriend, boyfriend, they're doing the same. And it is mutually entered upon. And so you're doing it together. And so the covenantal process is designed to create strong bonds of trust, respect, and mutual understanding, and to avoid misunderstanding and mistrust and all those negative things. So that's the sit down. Then comes the negotiation. And the negotiation is the second tier of the covenants refinement process. And that's where you try to make these covenants as mutually beneficial as possible. The negotiation isn't what you consider in the business world, where one person comes and he dominates and he takes over, and the other guys leaves empty-handed, and he leaves a winner, and there's like a winner and a loser in that scenario. The negotiation in the covenantal process is not that. The negotiation is making those covenants as mutually beneficial as possible. So you're negotiating even the words that you're using in drafting up those covenants, because you're drafting them up together, and you're going to want to make them as mutually beneficial as possible. And there is a sense of equality and a sense of mutual respect in doing so. That's the negotiation. The next step is closing the deal. And closing the deal is making sure that those covenants is the third tier actually in the covenants refinement process. And so you're making sure that those covenants are as mutually beneficial as possible. The wording is right, the wording is mutually beneficial, and there isn't going to be a situation in the end where there's going to be some confusion about what was said or what was expected, because the three-tier covenants refinement process has just been so thorough and has allowed you to be able to make those covenants as mutually beneficial as possible. So, I mean, I can't make it any clearer than that. So, the covenants refinement process allow you to be on on the same page and be as united as possible. So the next step is the promise. And the promise is where you go through together and you look at all the covenants you've made in this covenants document, and you promise to each other that you will keep them. And that could be a beautiful experience. And you're making agreements and promises that are just making your relationship really, really beautiful. I would say that if you do not want to have a lasting relationship with the person that you're dating, then you may not want to enter the covenantal process. Because if you do enter the covenantal process, you're going to be establishing relationship that is built to last. So you're going to be establishing a relationship that's going to be built on trust, respect, and love, and mutual appreciation that is built to last. That's what the covenantal process is designed to do. And so, so be careful who you enter upon the covenantal process with. So the promise, so you've made a promise to each other that you're going to keep all those lists of covenants that you've made. And then the final step, which is step 7 of the covenantal process, is the sealing. And the sealing is the idea of putting your seal or your stamp of approval on this covenants document. And basically, it's signing it, signing the covenants document, ratifying that which has been created by both of you, mutually created and mutually beneficial. And so now you have a covenants document with all your expectations and all your girlfriend boyfriend's expectations. And now you can use that to build upon a future that will make you both as fulfilled and as happy as possible. And so that is how we try to make creating boundaries in dating relationships as easy as possible through the covenantal process. If you know of anyone or if yourself, you may benefit from being coached through the process of creating effective boundaries with your girlfriend or boyfriend. If you're in love and you wish this relationship to go to the next level and just be an eternal one, or to last forever, as everyone would hope their relationship would, then please look down in the box below. You should find my website details. Go ahead and contact me and arrange a meeting, and I look forward to chatting with you. Thank you for your time. I wish you a wonderful day.